On this last page, you're supposed to find the missing side lengths in each pair of similar figures, given that you know that they're similar. So this is applying the reasoning of, well, if I know they're similar. So back here, we were saying, in the other problems, it was like you were given information about the triangles and you were proving they were similar. Now we're taking that similarity and proving other things about them. Knowing they're similar, what can we say and reason about the rest of the triangle? How can we find the missing sides, right? So for 3, I'm going to do 3 and 5 and you do the rest. For 3, we got triangle ABC. ABC is similar to XYZ. And the way they write this gives us clues about what's corresponding. So I know that side AB, right, this side, matches up with XY, right? And I know that BC matches up with YZ. Okay, looking at that, I see that these two both have numbers, which means it can give me a scale factor. But I want to find this X and Y, right? So that means I want to get to the smaller triangle. I want to go from the larger triangle to the smaller triangle. So that means I better try to get myself a scale factor. Well, there's a couple ways to do it, but I'm going to do it where I'm comparing small to large, right? So I can compare 15 and divide that by 30, and that gives me 1/2, right? So I now know if I want to go from the large triangle to the small triangle, I better take 1/2 of that, right? So now I just need to match up the others. 34 matches up with X, so I better take 1/2 of 34, so that means X equals 17. And 16 matches up with this AC corresponds to XZ. So that means I need to take 1/2 of 16 to get Y, and that's 8. So I use this scale factor of 1/2 to get myself there. Now, some of you prefer to do larger divided by smaller because you prefer dealing with numbers bigger than 1. So if I had done that way, I would have taken 30 divided by 15 and got a scale factor of 2. Now that would have told me that I need to get from small to big, I need to multiply by 2. That says the big triangle sides are twice as big as the small triangle. And what you would have done with that information then is you just would have divided. You would have just known, well, then I need to divide by 2. So I would have taken 34 divided by 2 to get 17. I would have taken 16 divided by 2 to get to 8. So it's important that you don't memorize some rules about, oh, do I multiply? Do I divide? What do I do? It's always bigger by smaller, smaller by bigger. It's important that you understand what the scale factors mean. If I'm saying, if I have this kind of scale factor, right? If I did smaller divided by bigger, that's a way of getting from here to here, right? If I did bigger by smaller, that's a way of getting from here to here, right? Twice as big. So you need to interpret this to understand how to use it. For number 5, we have overlapping triangles. So we know that JKL is similar to GKH, right? So when I have overlapping triangles, sometimes it's easier for me if I actually draw them separately. So if I draw, here's GKH, and it's got an X here and a 6 here, right? But then the bigger one is KJL. It's got a 15 down here, but then I want to look at how long is this KJ? Well, from here to here was 6. From here to here was 4. So angle segment addition, you can add together, altogether would be 10, right? So now I have enough to kind of compare. I can sort of see separately what to compare. I want to find X. And so that means I need to compare sides. Well, 6 and 10. KG corresponds, we can see this, KG corresponds to KJ, right? So 6 and 10 are a match. So I'm going to say, well, I'm going to divide 6 by 10. That gives me 0.6. So the scale factor, in order to shrink this to this, is 0.6. So if I take 15 times 0.6, I'm going to get 9 right here. So 9 is how long GH is. Again, you could have done it the other way. You could have done 10 divided by 6, right? And 10 divided by 6 is the same thing as, I prefer fractions, that's 5/3. But then you would have had to divide by that. You would have had to take 15 divided by that to get to 9. So just make sure your answer makes sense. If you end up with a bigger number here, you probably got some things backwards. This should be a 9 right here because that's smaller and proportional to 15. If you take 9 divided by 15, it's the same as 6 divided by 10. So you do 1, 2, 4, and 6.